before the glory of classical Greece, before philosophers, democracy, and empires. There was a forgotten world of warrior kings, golden masks, and burning cities, a civilization so powerful. It inspired the legends of Agamemnon and the epic war of Trojan War. They built massive stone fortresses, ruled the Aegean with iron discipline, and then they vanished. No gradual decline, no peaceful transition, just destruction, chaos, and silence. This is the story of the Mycenaeans, the rise and tragic end of Bronze Age Greece. The first warrior kings, around 1600 BCE, on the Greek mainland, a new power began to rise. At the centre of it stood the fortified city of Mycenae. This was no ordinary settlement. It was a kingdom built for war. Its rulers were not just kings. They were warlords, commanding armies, wealth, and influence across the Aegean Sea. Inside their tombs, archaeologists would later discover astonishing treasures: gold masks, jewellery, weapons fit for gods. The most famous of these is the Mask of Agamemnon, a symbol of power, mystery, and legend. Whether it truly belonged to Agamemnon, we may never know. But one thing is certain: these were not primitive people. They were the first great civilization of mainland Greece, builders of stone and power. Before the legends, the Mycenaeans built their power in stone. Around 1600 BCE, fortified centres rose across Greece. Among them, Mycenae became the strongest and most influential. Its walls were massive, built from huge limestone blocks fitted without mortar. Inside, the palace controlled everything: grain, weapons, labour, all collected and managed under one centralised system. Scribes recorded it using Linear B, an early Greek script used for administration. Beyond their walls, trade expanded. Ships connected them to Crete, Cyprus, Anatolia, and Egypt, bringing wealth, metals, and vital resources. It was a powerful and highly organised system, but also a fragile one, because if the palace failed, everything collapsed with it. The Age of Heroes. This was the age that would later become legend, an age where history and myth began to merge. Centuries later, the poet Homer preserved this world in stories like the Iliad. These tales spoke of powerful kings and great wars. According to legend, a coalition of Greek rulers, led by Agamemnon, launched a campaign against Troy. The Trojan War was driven by honour, revenge, and glory. For years, the conflict continued. Armies clashed, cities burned. But beneath the myth, archaeology suggests something real. A powerful city was destroyed by fire. At the same time, the Mycenaeans stood at their peak. Was this the war remembered in legend, or history transformed into myth? We may never know, but this was their golden age. Just before the fall, total collapse. And then, without warning, everything collapsed. Around 1200 BCE, the Bronze Age world began to fall apart. Palaces that had stood for centuries were suddenly destroyed. Fires consumed royal centres. Storage rooms filled with grain, weapons, and records were wiped out in chaos. Trade networks that once connected Egypt, Anatolia, and Greece vanished almost overnight. The flow of tin, copper, and luxury goods stopped completely. Kings lost control, armies disappeared, entire administrations collapsed. The carefully managed system of the Mycenaeans broke beyond repair. Across the eastern Mediterranean, destruction appeared everywhere at the same time. Even powerful states beyond Greece were collapsing into crisis. The balance of the ancient world was gone, and the Mycenaean palaces, once symbols of order and strength, became ruins of ash and stone. The mystery. But the question remains: what caused the collapse? No single answer survives. Some ancient records speak of the Sea Peoples, a force that attacked cities across the Mediterranean. Others point to internal conflict, rival kingdoms, power struggles. There is also evidence of natural disasters. Earthquakes may have damaged cities. Drought may have caused famine. Trade had already begun to fail. Resources became scarce. Most likely it was not one cause, but many. A chain reaction of crisis. A fragile system breaking apart. And when it collapsed, there was no recovery. Only ruins and unanswered questions. The Dark Age. After the collapse, silence. The palace system was gone. Power structures disappeared. Writing, once used in Linear B, was no longer practiced. Records vanished. Cities shrank into villages. Trade networks broke apart. Population declined. Craftsmanship simplified. Knowledge slowly faded. For generations, Greece existed in isolation. This period is known as the Dark Age. A time of decline and survival. The great palaces stood abandoned, their walls silent. Only stories remained. Stories of kings, of wars, of a lost world. From ruins to legend. But this was not the end. From the ruins, something new would rise. Centuries later, Greece would return. Stronger, different, and transformed. The world of philosophy, of city-states, of Athens and Sparta. But beneath that future, the memory of the Mycenaeans remained. Their walls still stood. Their tombs still held gold. Their stories lived on in legend. A civilization of kings, of warriors, of stone and power, that rose suddenly and vanished just as fast.